So take it away, Taskeen J.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. And thank you to Atia for this opportunity, and really thank you for everyone to everyone for joining. And inshallah, I hope you get some benefit. Let's begin with this question, something to think about. What if I said to you that one possible reason that you might feel that your du'as are not being accepted is simply because you're actually not even asking for it? What do I mean by that? I mean, we're lifting our hand up every day after salah. We are saying something, we're making dua. What do we mean we're not asking for things? Well, at the start of Ramadan, I had a little think about, as I was preparing, I prepare physically, I prepare mentally, I was to get into the zone of this beautiful month. And I decided to think about my dua. And I reflected on where do I want to take this dua in this month, knowing that this is such a special, blessed month, the perfect platform for asking for what I want. And I started thinking about what kind of dua I was making. And that's when I realized that I am not paying enough attention when I am asking of Allah. I have such an opportunity. I mean, look at what Allah says in the Quran. Call upon me, I will respond to you. This is an open invitation. Allah wants us to ask of Him. And I do put my hands up after every salah, and I do make dua. But I wasn't paying enough attention. And that's why I don't think I was getting the right amount of value that I could actually be getting from my dua. So I realized that what I needed to do is to start giving more conscious thought, being awake, alive, and aware of what I'm saying when I'm talking to Allah, when I'm asking for what I want. I just listened to a talk just recently by Sheikh Yasser Fadi, one of my favorite scholars. And he said that number one factor for your dua to be accepted is sincerity. But how can I be sincere if I am not paying attention to what I'm saying, just rattling off maybe some duas in Arabic, which I don't even know the meaning of, or some previous duas that were relevant, not updated to where I am right now? There's no sincerity, there's no connection. How can I expect results from that? And that's when I started I took pen and paper, and that's what I love to do, to write. And I used a tool that I'm going to share with you that I used to use back in my university days, and I was studying, a creative tool that helps us to structure our thinking. And I brainstormed all the different things that I wanted in my dua, and I came up with this mind map, which I will tell you about in a second. And I've done this before, and the only difference that I've done now is, alhamdulillah, I had a platform and I had the opportunity to share it. And that's where we are here today, that I want to share with you this mind map and what it's all about. So for those of you that are not familiar, a mind map is a tool. That's just a simple tool. That's a creative way to represent, let's look at the definition, to represent ideas or lists that we have in our mind. So we want a lot of things in our duas, and that's the right way. We should want everything, and we should be able to ask of everything, because that's the great opportunity that Allah has given us. So a mind map just helps us to structure this so that we can actually put everything that we want in one place, documented in one place, so that we can refer to it and we can use it. The idea is that you start with one idea, and then you branch off and you keep putting in details into different areas. So it's just a way of logically dividing all the different things that your aspects that make up your life. And it's a creative process, so that through that creative process, you are able to, you see, things will just flow. Things will come to mind, and you can just slot it into different areas.
Can I just request participants to mute, please?
And then what you have at the end is something very visual that you can use, that brings alive what it is that you want from Allah. When you do this, you will find that you are giving dua which is also an ibadah. I also heard this from the talk from Sheikh Yasser Qadhi, that just remind ourselves that dua is an ibadah. It's a worship. When you are making dua, you are in worship. So that's absolutely beautiful. You feel like you're asking for something that you want in your life, but at the same time, it's a form of worship. So when you do this, you can be, and you have this conscious thought that you've given, you can be more mindful. You can be more aware, more present, and in that way, you have a connection with Allah, inshallah. And that's what I found when I did this. So let's have a look at the little video.
I think we can't play this video, Athiya, so let's move to next because it's video format.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe if I share my screen, I can do that quickly.
Right.
Let me try that quickly.
I love how one of the children are feeling creative and drawing all over the screen, mashallah.
It's PDF format, so we can't play. Let's move to next.
Okay, that's fine. My screen's still showing. Oh.
Okay, there we go. We should be able to get the video on now.
Okay, am I trying that?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
It was a lovely visual presentation, Taskeen, of what people could do today on their paper, because this is exactly the activity that we want all of you to do today on this call. You may not be able to complete the entire thing, but we want you to be able to start it, because it's the small action that's going to be, as I say, a journey of 1,000 steps, of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. So today, at least you're not going to go back with a blank page out of this webinar. You're going to have something. So what you see on the screen right now, all of you've got your page in front of you, right? Draw that circle and draw the two blocks above it. For those who are not speaking Arabic, Deen means your religious things and Dunya means the worldly things. So you can even look at it as earth and heaven.
And just to say, Sister Athiya, I did my own mind map, but this beautiful drawing that you're looking at is done by my friend, my artist friend, Aisha Jacob. And she put the video together for me as well. So that's her beautiful illustration. She's based here in Istanbul as well.
Wow, thank you to Aisha Jacob.
If we can just go back to the previous slide, please, on the Deen. That's right, okay. So yeah, let me just take you through it, everyone. So if everyone has their blank piece of paper, and you can start with yourself. We're gonna get to talk about your family and friends and everyone around you, but I think a logical starting point is to start with yourself. Deen is everything to do with, the religion, to do with the next world and what we are actually, our ultimate aim in life, okay? dunya, we have a lot of things we want to ask for, this world. But the deen is really where our aim, at least as Muslims, is. So if our ultimate aim is Jannah, there are a few steps that we might want to cover before we ask Allah for Jannah, or at the same time as asking Allah for Jannah. And I just broke these down into, for example, pleasing Allah. So the first step is we want to have a connection with Allah. So you would write this as a heading, and then you will fill in under that what might be all the different other elements that make this up. So for example, you want to be close to Allah. You want to stay away from sin. You want to have a connection with Allah. You want to have love for Allah. You want to have love for Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. These are all the things that will give you this connection to Allah.
And you know, from a psychology point, sorry Taskeen to just interrupt there, from a psychology point, it may seem very simple that somebody says, you know what, part of my supplication is that I want to please God. That would be, some people might say, well, that's a given. But actually, there's a great wisdom in verbally expressing what you want, and then your heart and your soul resonates with what you've just said. So there's a power in words. And then there's a specific power in writing, because our Prophet Muhammad, many a times he was mentioned to have said, telling people to write, repeatedly telling people to write things down. So there's a power in the pen, and there's a power in the word. So pleasing Allah by saying, I want to be close to Him. By you consciously putting that out there, you start driving yourself subconsciously to that. So just wanted to mention that. So don't think what you may be writing is, you know, it's not important, or it's so trivial, or it's something, it's like, you know, that permeates all this. No, write it down.
Absolutely, exactly. Another thing I have later to say, everything is in scope. Nothing is out of scope, because you can ask for absolutely everything you want. Okay, so that's one aspect. The next thing would be to think about forgiveness of our sins. So, I mean, there's a lot of things we can write there. You can list out sins that you want to mention. You can say, oh Allah, the sins that I'm not aware of, the sins that I made in the past, the sins I made against people. So these are all the topics that you will put under this heading of forgiveness. You can even here talk about protection from the fire of hell. This would go under this area.
And then I thought, even in that one, when putting out there that you're asking for forgiveness and stipulating what you're asking for forgiveness for, it may not necessarily be point for point every sin that you've made. I think we are all going to sin. You know, Allah Ta'ala has said that every one of us are sinners, and the best of sinners are the ones who repent. So it's a given that we will sin. We don't need to list out our sins. It's a private piece of paper. But what we can do is we can ask for forgiveness for the sins we committed in secret and the ones in public, the sins that long forgotten and the ones you remember. And as you're saying those things, your brain will actually activate to remember the things you're talking about, because this is how the brain operates. If I say, I'm thinking about the sins I committed in secret, your brain is naturally going to go down quickly to that part of the sins you did commit in secret and the ones you did in public. But without voicing that or even stipulating that as a category, you may forget, because the very nature of human being is to forget. In fact, the Arabic word for human is insan, and the word insan comes from nasit, means to forget. Human by nature are forgetful creatures. Carry on, Taskeen.
Exactly. And then we can talk about death, the kind of, we think it's something we don't want to think about. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told us we need to think about it 25 times a day. So let's talk about, let's write the du'as that we want. We want, and I just put a few things there, an easy death, a death with iman. We can even talk about, to when we are resting in the grave. Think about the things around those aspects. And then that brings us to our ultimate aim, which is Jannah. All our du'as is all about getting to the point of getting to Jannah. And don't just stop there. Why just say Jannah? We say Jannatul Firdaus. We make dua for the highest place in Jannah.
And for those of us who are not Arabic speaking on the call, Jannah is referred to as heaven or paradise, the gardens of Eden. And Jannatul Firdaus is the highest form of that. paradise, the best of the gardens of paradise.
Exactly. So I urge you to spend some time thinking about the deen, what we said is all about the spiritual side and our religious side, or the hereafter. This is where bulk of our dua really should be. But we all are, aspiring to be better Muslims. So I know we all are very interested in talking about the dunya, about the world and where we're living right now. So let's get on to that section on the dunya. So the next slide. The next slide is about different aspects. So, yeah, I mean, either of the slides, both of them cover what we want to look at. So it doesn't matter. I mean, in the end, you could come up with a beautiful mind map. And I would love to see everyone's pictures when they're done, especially the little kids. I'll put it on my stories on Instagram. I'd love to share that. So please do send it through. Maybe Sister Atia will send some contact details. You could send it through, and please share with me what you come up with. So if we just go to the previous slide, let's go on to, let's have a look at the mind map again.
Kunain, if you can just lift up the slide. I'm not sure if he's there.
So just to have a look at the mind map, but I can talk through it. Just the slide before that, please.
The other way.
One more up. So under deen, under dunya, so thinking about yourself first, I thought a nice logical way to break this up was to think of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and then I had environment, even social. So thinking about yourself physically, let's start with that. There's some obvious things, like if you want to be fit and healthy, you might have specific weight goals. Put it in. The more specific you can be, the more likely it is that you can work towards it, and you're asking Allah for this. Then there's other things like, okay, we all want protection from coronavirus. Put that in under your physical. I just want to explain to you how specific and how important it is to really list out what it is exactly that you want. When you are clear in your mind about what you want, and then you are more clear about asking for it. And of course, Allah knows what we want. You don't even have to ask, and He knows it. We know this. But it is important, and we have to make the effort. The step that we take is we have to make this effort, and then Allah will respond to us. Remember, He says, "Call upon me, I will respond." So just list out here under the physical side what you might want. I won't go through each one, but I just want to show you these are just like prompts for you to think about it yourself. Under mentally and emotionally, then, when you talk about you want comfort, you want to feel happy, you want happiness, you can, just as you are thinking about things, once you have your headings, you can slot them into different areas. This is how a mind map works. You saw in the video, you're just flowing as you are thinking about the aspects in your life. Then I had one area called environment, which might help you to catch things like work or hobbies or success in things that you are doing, initiatives that you are working on. You might think about your literal environment, the safety. Oh Allah, please take us out of this lockdown as soon as possible so we can safely go out into the world again. Whatever it is that you want to put under environment. Then, if you feel like you've got enough on yourself, there might be things I've forgotten about, by the way. Please feel free. This is your mind map, and it will flow to you as well. Let's go on to family now. So depending on your family structure, you might be married with children, or if not, you will think about your parents, grandparents. Don't forget the in-laws, siblings, extended families. Sometimes in my lists, I say, oh Allah, the family that are on my WhatsApp groups. If you can't remember everyone that you want to think about, you might want to put up for your friends. For your friends, you might, what I do is I have a few du'as there, for example, generic du'as for my friends, unless they specifically ask for something. So you could say, oh Allah, please grant all the wishes for my friends, ease their suffering, and just as a general. And then you might want to list everyone's names as well. which is also something I've done in the past. Neighbors, you could include that as well. Then I had something about the world and the community. Of course, as Muslims, we are taught not only to think about ourselves, but to think about the world and the ummah, the world that we live in and that we share this world with, the communities, the people that are suffering. You could mention different countries. We're always making du'as for this. This might be the place where you would put something like that in.
When we look at this mind map, Taskeen, it's so populated, and yet, as you said, you know, there's stuff that you haven't put there as well, that everybody has their own unique experience and might add things to. You know, it makes so much of sense now that when we are praying, especially in Ramadan, when sometimes we are very exhausted mentally and physically, it may sometimes be a bit difficult to remember all these things. So that is where a mind map really works, guys, because you have a visual prompt to remember all the things you may otherwise have forgotten.
And it brought to light for me, there were certain things that I thought I was making dua for because I wanted it in my heart, but I actually wasn't uttering the words for it. And I couldn't believe it myself. So it was a real eye-opener for me. And then I'm very goal-oriented as well. So I started putting very, very specific goals. For example, I just started sharing things on Instagram. And now I want to be very specific about, okay, how many people do I actually want to reach? And I start asking Allah for that. And some of my friends laugh at me. Some of my friends that are non-Muslim as well. And they say, you're asking God for that? And I'm like, there is nothing I can't ask Allah for. So why can I not ask Allah to please help my children to go to sleep sooner? Because they're taking very long these days. That's on top of my mind right now. And that might be something what I would put under the children heading, of course.
You know, it's so beautiful that you say that, because there's a hadith by the Prophet ﷺ, Prophet Muhammad said that ask even if your request is for something like salt. And another one says ask even if you require a shoelace. So yeah. that trivial example was used to show the importance of that nothing is too trivial. Salt is not too trivial. Shoelace is not too trivial. So what is it if you ask for a certain job? What is it if you ask for a certain house or a certain place that you want to live in, or a certain type of lifestyle that you want, or that you want to get married, or that you want to have children, or that you want health, or all the things that you really want, but we sometimes don't express it because we have these internal negative beliefs and negative coding about the dua and about the power of that dua. So when you finish with this, we're going to go into that very crucial aspect about the power of the belief that you need to carry this mind map dua into actual reality for yourself.
Great. Yes, that's a great step. And then just one other point on this is that when you're making du'as, like for example, the children one is a good example. Of course, we make du'as for the future. Oh Allah, please keep them, our children well guided. Let them grow up to be good ambassadors of Islam. Let them have a good education. Then, so you're thinking about the future. You can also make dua thinking about the present. This is where my whole thing about get my children to sleep sooner. This is my immediate need right now. So you're thinking about different time periods as well. You do it for yourself. You do it for all of these topics. And then this is how you get into a point of being really, really comprehensive about what it is. You're being specific and comprehensive at the same time for what it is that you are asking for. And the reason I'm talking about different time periods is because, especially in the month of Ramadan, especially on this very, very special night of decree, the Laylatul Qadr, as it's known in Arabic, which is tonight for some of us, and I think tomorrow for the rest of the countries, is that it's a night where we're supposed to be asking for whatever we want. It's a very, very special night. And that's why we want to cover things that are happening now and things that will happen in the future as well, because we don't know if we will be around for the next opportunity like that.
Yes, that is so, so valid. We don't know whether we're going to be around tomorrow. So even though we should not be specifically thinking that tonight is the night of power, we are supposed to seek it in the last odd nights, the 10 nights of Ramadan. And for those people who are not Muslim on this call, what we're referring to is that in the last 10 days of Ramadan, the odd nights in particular are ones which we seek a special night, which is referred to in the Quran as the night of power. And this night is said to be a night better than 1,000 months, in that whatever you ask for in this night, whatever fate that is coming down from the heavens for you, the prayers and supplication you make in these nights are buffers to what is coming. So this is the time to ask to be saved from calamities, difficulties, tests that are too big that you may not want to face. Let me be clear. There's no such thing as you're not going to face tests. Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran that you say you believe and you don't think you will be tested. The fact that you believe, as long as you're a believer, whether you're a Christian believer, Jewish believer, any monotheistic believer, so long as you are a believer, be sure that you're going to be tested on that. You know, so ask for easy tests. Ask for being able to pass the test with success. This is a guarantee. The tests are a guarantee. This whole life is a test. But how will you pass it? How will you react to it? What are the mental filters you have to the situations at hand? Will you become a stronger person, a better person, a more rewarded person by Allah, by God, for how you manage through that test? Or will you crumble? Will you lose faith? Will that test become a means of more torment for you? So these are the nights of power that we're asking for every single thing, because it's your power. What does that power mean? It means you have the power now to direct and shape what you want by the permission of God. So use this night, seek these nights.
Okay, so let's see the next slide, please, which is how to use this once this is complete. And I'd like to take some feedback from everyone in a minute. But just to explain, okay, so how do we use this mind map once we've done the exercise? We've done the creative exercise, we've got all our du'as listed, mapped out, and it's you can use it in a few ways. So you can either use it as a reference point when you're actually making dua, hold it in your hand and go through the list. Or I found that just by doing this exercise, the creativity was flowing, and now automatically some of these duas come to my mind when I am making dua, and I can just occasionally look at the mind map itself. Somebody also gave me an idea about putting it up, sticking it up in your prayer area, so it's near you. And it also can work as a vision board. So you hear this term, around us as well in the media. What is a vision board? Well, a vision board is something that we are aspiring to. Dua is one side, and then we make efforts to achieve something. So this could also work in that way. And then the last thing is that this mind map that you come up with could also be as a prompt for you when you are making for thankfulness, when you are showing gratitude to Allah, because that's the way we are taught to start our supplications in any case, to be thankful. So the same things you're asking for Allah, you're asking for, requesting for, you will start with thanks. So for example, if I'm asking about my children and sleeping, then the first thing, from a gratitude point of view, I always start by thanking Allah in the first place for having children, for answering my duas, and granting me children, which is another story. And then using the mind map just to ask for what exactly I wanted for my children. So that's how you do it. You can use it for gratitude as well.
Taskeen, may I have your permission to share your PowerPoint with the participants?
Absolutely, of course.
Participants, would you like that? Let me see you chat whether you want this PowerPoint or not. So just type in yes if you want it. Let me see how many of you are awake and on the call with us.
And then it's yours. You can have it. And it's all on my Instagram as well. So maybe share that as well, because that's where I post a lot of these graphics and the explanations as well, if people would like that.
Right, so you'll see it's called Dream Dua PDF, and on your phone or your desktop, you will have a download button next to it, and you can just click the download and it will be in your device. All right, so then you can refer to it later, and you can put it on your screen or screenshot the relevant slide that you need. Kunain, put on my PowerPoint there. And we're going to continue with how you're going to make this now be powerful for you. All right. So We didn't follow the slide 6, please. Taskeen, you want to share your Instagram on the chat for the participants?
Okay, let me do that quickly.
All right. So